Yo, what's up? Yo, my name is Liam Dawson. Right now, I'm doing this beat making 101 tutorial. This is going to be the first installment of bass techniques. I'm going to show you kind of the basses, how I make the basses in the current tracks that I'm working on, and in the future, as I get better and better with making music, I can show you more different, newer techniques. Um, so, yeah, let's open up one of these tracks, and I'll show you the bass. I'll show you the bass in context, and then I'll kind of show you how I made the patch and how I automated it and everything like that. I'm gonna skip ahead. Yeah. So that's the track, and it's you can't exactly hear the bass like super clear. I don't have it really loud in the mix, but I can solo it. Um, it's got kind of a groan quality to it. Um, Here is the massive patch. Looks like I'm just using oscillator 1, sine wave. I'm using, it's got one of these envelopes that's pretty tight. It's on gate, voicing, 2 voices, mono rotate, always, restart via gate, time is all the way down. Insert 1 is, it doesn't really matter where it is, I guess, but it's after filter 1, and it's a sine shaper turned all the way wet, with a lot of drive, a good amount of drive on it, and then it's also got some tube. So it's really a really dirty sound. It's got this sine shaper and this tube distortion, which makes it really like gritty. If you listen without this EQ, it's kind of different. So this fattens it up a little bit. This EQ here. So to get the pitch bending effect that it has, if you look here, there's this pitch bend. Yeah. So to start that out, you go into the oscillator. I pitched it up by 3 because it sounded like it was in key, I guess, or it was sliding up to the right note, and it's pretty consistent because the pitch bend is on the same note essentially, and then on this part there's no pitch bend. So yeah, and then raise it up all the way. Maybe if we move it into Yeah. So yeah, this is basically 1.5 bars, and starting on the second bar goes up to the middle of the second bar and then down and ends on the beginning of the fourth bar. So if you think of them in 4 bar sections, that's kind of how it works. Um, yeah, so pitch bending, all you got to do is click on pitch bend and it should go straight to the massive pitch bend. Yeah. Can even boost it up a little bit. Yeah, so that's what that one sounds like, and it sounds like it could use a little bit of this low note. You'll notice it's at a lower amplitude level than the higher notes. I'm sure there's a way to fix that, like possibly creating 2 tracks. Turn this on to 1 bar. Doing something like this. You dig? And then going to do that for this song. Since this is a bass technique, might as well get my hands dirty. Move these all back like that. Here, here. Okay. Delete this. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much fixed. So yeah, and my bass like MIDI is like really, really simple. If you look at it, it's super simple. Like same note, same note, same note. Dun dun dun. Yeah, I like simplicity, and then just messing with it. Simplicity. is a wonderful thing, especially when the complex things seem simple. It could be cool. So yeah, that's one bass kind of idea. This one's a little bit similar, slightly similar. Yeah, so that bass is essentially just a sine wave going up through filter 1. Let's look at the envelope real quick. Yeah, nice, pretty tight envelope. Voicing, it's 5 voices, mono rotate. In the oscillator section, we've got restart via gate, no glide. Daft filter, medium, the cutoff, slightly below medium for the resonance. Got some classic tube and some chorus effect. Also, we have our sine shaper and a parabolic shaper. If you look at the routing, the parabolic shaper is before filter 1. So the oscillator goes into the insert, then into filter 1, then into insert 1, which is the sine shaper. So that's how that's kind of set up. Got some feedback. Yeah, really simple. Then, in the oscillator section, the up is turned up by an octave. So that way, when we go into our notes here, we can click on the pitch bend, and you can see the bends that I'm using. I want to try something. Oh yeah, and don't forget there's an EQ cutting out the unnecessary lows, and basically all of the highs and mids, so you're just getting this band pass of sub frequency. What was I going to show you? Oh yeah, so let's mess with this. Let's turn this to one shot, this envelope 4, which is on the amp mod and the bypass mod by default. I did this little inversion of the decay, so now the decay is kind of acting like the attack. Let's turn up the release though. That's a little like subtle change. I actually prefer it how it was. go into the loop, turn this on to 1, and then drop down the level here, turn up the morph. So yeah, that's some kind of bass techniques. So that's 2 of the tracks that I'm working on that have some interesting bass going on. I think also this one's pretty. I use 2 different kind of basses. I use kind of a lower sub and then a mid section kind of bass. So there's this one, which is kind of like, it's kind of a low sounding. Yeah, so that's like a sub kind of 808 emulation and then a mid section bass. So let's go in and look at this bass, and I'll show you how I made it. So it looks like I'm just running 1 oscillator. It's a saw. It's pitched down by 2 octaves. I'm running it through filter 1 first. It's in serial mode, so it's going through filter 1, then through filter 2. Filter 1 is scream. Filter 2 is high pass. Let's look at the envelope. The attack has been removed, so the decay is inverted and becomes the attack. Has a nice slope. It's on gate. Voicing. 7 voices. Mono rotate. Always. It doesn't have restart via gate. So this section doesn't really matter. But let's go back to the voicing, because the pitch cutoff is set to 1 and is brought out to about there, and the pan position is on and set all the way to the left, so it's spreading out across the entire stereo. With our feedback is at the end of the chain after the amp mod. It's right about there. And it also looks like we have some phase modulation on oscillator 1, pitched up by 12 semitones, an octave, and the phase is just ever so slightly in effect. And then it has some reverb on it. And what gives this this sound kind of like it's fade in effect is the envelope 4 is not only on the amp mod and the bypass mod, but it's also on the scream filter right here. So it gives it this kind of like slowly kind of ramps in. Yeah, pretty simple sound to make. Let's look at massive for this one. Oh yeah, don't forget on this this massive, there's an EQ, which is cutting out all the lows and all the highs, just getting boosting the low mids. So yeah, go back to this one over here. This is our sub bass, in which I'm using a sine square, which is pitched down, -36 semitones. I'm using bass pulse, which you can find if you go down. If you like scroll down in your menu, it's like hiding right there. Electric bass pulse, pitch down 24. Then let's look at the voicing. 4 voices, mono rotate, oscillator, restart via gate. The envelope is like so, with a long release. It's set to gate. Then we've got envelope 1, which is set like this, really tight, just a quick little pop to give it kind of like a kick sound at the beginning of the attack of the sound. And the envelope 1 is on that DAF filter resonance. It's on the wavetable position. It's on the pitch of the oscillators, 64 semitones. It's on. It looks like it was on the ring mod, but it looks like I turned that off. It's on the feedback. We've got some inserts here, a sine shaper, which is running after filter 1, and then we got some tube. Pretty basic kind of 808 emulation. I wonder if there's a way to fix that. I'm trying to fix the amplitudes here. When you go too low, it's kind of like at a low, really low amplitude as well. But I'll fix that later. So yeah, here's what the two sounds are like together. And you'll notice there's an EQ here cutting out most of the unnecessary lows and boosting the subs a little bit. that's what our mid one's boosted right here, and yeah, you can kind of see it's like boosted where it's kind of starting to really fade out. So basically, number two is resting right here mainly, and then this one's kind of filling out the rest of the low end. So it's you got like a lot of like two interesting bass frequencies ranges, Um, yeah, so that's another example of how I've been doing stuff. Um, Let me just I don't know, pick one at random, I guess. Um, Try number 13. This one's probably really simple as well. This is the MIDI for it. Yeah. Sine wave. It's pitched up. It's got one of these. Long release. Mono rotate, one voice, restart via gate. No glide. And then envelope 1 is one of these really tight pop sounds, and that's going on here, up by 64 semitones. DAF filter, sine shaper after the filter. Yeah, this one's really just run-of-the-mill bass frequency, nothing special at all. Yeah. So yeah, those are some of my bass techniques, and I'm gonna get into more of them. Do more installments of this. I hope you learned something, gleaned something from this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll catch you later.